We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second episode of the now world famous Breakaways and Brewery Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan. I'm joined by Louise, Danny and Jamie once again. Hey guys.
Hello.
So for those of you who missed the first episode, what is Breakaways and Breweries? It's quite simple really. Breakaways and Breweries is a podcast about everything to do with men's and women's cycle racing for complete non-experts. Pure armchair opinions, usually with a very cold beer in our hands, and that's pretty much it. So join the conversation. We're all regulars on Twitter using the hashtag Breakaways and Breweries, but get involved. We'd love to hear your opinions. But essentially it's just a show talking about the men's and women's pro Peloton and all the ins and outs of it. Guys, how did we think the first episode went down?
Oh, I purposefully didn't listen to it. It's too scary.
Why is that?
I don't like my own voice.
I don't like your
I'm
voice.
listening to it now.
We don't like your voice either, but we have to listen to it.
Put me on a podcast. What do you think?
How are your predictions, Danny?
Actually, not bad.
Yeah,
some of them were right. Some of them were shocking.
So the last podcast we previewed Flanders, and how did your predictions go?
Yeah, and not good.
Yeah,
I predicted it would be Longo Borghini to win,
yeah.
and it wasn't.
No.
So
I found myself getting really, really excited watching the race and getting on Twitter, and then it felt as though the next minute I'd be like, okay, this person's going to win. Okay, no, this person's going to win. And I feel like I kind of like jinxed everybody. And so for both the men's and women's, it just didn't turn out how I thought it was going to.
Should we not make predictions this time?
I think we make predictions, but not during the race. I think we make predictions sort of long ahead of it, and then just leave it there. It was good times. Louise, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. I escaped to Wales last week and got out on my bike in the sunshine, so that was nice for a change of scenery and some hills and stuff. So yeah, things are going well.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. And are you training for anything at the minute, or are you just?
I am training for something later on in the summer, but I can't talk about it yet.
Oh, that's exciting.
Oh yeah.
Maybe yes.
Do we get another podcast
secret training
on the topic once we get there?
I think
once you're allowed to reveal.
Yes.
Breakaways, breweries, and secrets. Danny, how are you, mate?
Not training for anything.
Not training for anything.
No.
Barely riding. Just drink beer.
Yeah, good.
Right,
training for that. Jamie, how are you, pal? What's going on?
Not bad. Enjoying the sunshine.
Jamie, you had your first race.
Yeah.
Your first TT race.
First TT on my new weird bike.
Tell us.
Got second.
Oh, I got second. That's amazing, mate.
So it wasn't first.
Wasn't first, but no. It wasn't third.
So I've shaved some hair off
to
try and get the aero advantage for next time.
So for everybody listening who can't see this, Jamie's battery of his clippers ran out part way through. So
oh wow.
Yeah. Oh wow.
So I'm wearing hats at the moment.
Okay. Yeah. But
it should make me faster. It's very aerodynamic.
All right, so before we get into talking about the racing, obviously we like to open up a bottle of beer and talk about it, and we try and find the beers from local as possible to the races. And this week we've got a real treat for you. So the races that we're talking about this week are the Ardennes. So we'll talk a little bit about Amstel, even though it's not technically in the Ardennes. But then we've got Fleche, which is going to be tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So by the time you guys are listening to this, the race is probably going on or it's happened. So, we'll just see what happens there. We'll see how accurate we are. And then this coming Saturday, you've got the old lady Liege, Bastogne Liege. Now, Liege is obviously in the Ardennes. And I was very comforted to find out that the local brewery in Liege is Jupiler. Now, Jupiler was the first ever beer I had at the tender age of 14.
That's illegal.
I'm telling the police.
Well, it was. Well, the thing is,
it's legal at home, isn't it?
Well, no, we were in Belgium, and
wasn't at home.
So we were in Belgium on. It was actually it was an amazing trip. It was with school, and we were going out to look at all the. Yeah, it's get better. We were going out to look at all the World War sort of memorials. It was quite powerful. Of course, every night we'd sneak out from the hostel, literally out the window, to go down the road, round the corner, and have a cigarette, because that's what we did, because we were cool 14-year-olds. And then so a friend of mine's casually leaning up against this vending machine, like a Coke vending machine. And we see Jupiler. We're like, oh, what's that? And we see brewed, and then 5%. And we're like, oh my God, it's beer. So we get all the money out of our pockets. And of course, none of us are drunk before, and it did get a little bit messy. But yeah. So I thought, well, let's have some Jupiler today. So for anybody who has been to Belgium, Jupiler it's just like the beer, isn't it? It's there. It's everywhere. It's like, you go into a pub and it's like kind of the most accessible, probably cheapest beer around.
Cheap one on tap. I'll have your cheapest beer, please, mate.
Lou, are you drinking?
I'm driving again.
You're driving again.
I need to
Luckily,
thankfully, Jupiler 0.0% is right in front of you. So let's crack these open.
Thanks to our sponsors.
Yeah, thanks to our sponsors, Jupiler. Danny, now's not the time to do emails, mate.
Oh, mate, I'm looking over my old predictions. No, I'm just seeing how bad I was. I can't remember what I predicted.
Yeah, one of those ones. That's it.
Get your own.
So one of the things that we had on our last podcast was Danny asked how to pour it, and I said like a Moroccan tea, and he actually did it. So
I'll never listen to you again.
So this time, mate, just pour it like a normal beer. So this is just a really lovely, accessible beer, nice and clear, from the Ardennes. Oh yeah, lovely.
Look at that sound.
It's better than your sound effects.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Oh.
Tron. Oh yeah, get the chinks in.
Diving in already.
Cheers. Oh God.
Cheers down there.
Oh, takes me back. 14 years old.
Allez.
14 years old with a cigarette.
You need a cigarette.
Yeah. All right, so last time around we were reviewing Flanders, and now we're going to be sort of like having a bit of a chat about Amstel, and then talking about Liege. One of the things that we really do encourage you guys, and thank you for everybody who has been getting involved, is on Instagram, on Twitter. Use the hashtag Breakaways Breweries. I'll tell you what, let's try and have a bit of a goal this time. So it's really frustrating having to type in hashtag Breakaways Breweries because it doesn't autofill. So we need to get it trending so that as soon as you type in BR it fills.
100 plus posts.
Wow.
Yeah. So I could probably just do loads of predictions during the race and it might do it. But but use hashtag Breakaways Breweries, tag Jerry Cycles, and off we go. So guys, what's been happening in the world of professional cycling over the last few weeks?
We've had some good racing.
Had some amazing racing
stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of start picking it apart. Where should we go? Lou, you go first.
So Amstel Gold Race.
Yep.
The weekend, just crazy finishes on both the men's and women's.
Yep.
The men's one was ridiculously close. I think Pidcock got it, but
controversial.
but he wasn't declared winner. So it was just nuts that you had to completely zoom in on that photo to see that. And then the women's race, I thought Voss had celebrated too early because she bunged her hands up in the air like maybe
50 metres from the line. Yeah.
And then she caught up and then on the line kind of looked sideways and was like, oops. But thankfully,
for that one, who were the two in the breakaway? Was it Longoborghini and
Neuerdima?
Yeah.
uh-huh.
It's so frustrating because you're watching it and Longoborghini just sat in.
Yeah.
But if they had worked together just a little bit more,
I've had 2 sips.
Danny's had 2 sips of beer and he spilt the water.
Everyone needs to go and check out the YouTube version of tonight's podcast to see Danny being a twat.
But thankfully, you didn't spill the beer, so that's okay.
Or get any of the important recording equipment.
So while Danny is cleaning up, well done, mate. You've gone straight for the blue roll. Good man. If they had been working together for just a little bit longer, they would have won. But she was playing sort of tactics and sitting in, and she went with 1,900 meters to go, and it was still slightly uphill, and of course just blew the rest of the pack caught.
Shame.
And then
it's
Voss,
a bit of a lose-lose for Longoborghini. So,
in what sense?
I mean, if she'd gone, she'd have been towing Cassia Neuerdima, and if she hadn't, she'd have got caught and rolled in the sprint. So But those tactics are fine if they had just gone on a little bit longer. But then too early.
It just went too early, and she jumped. She definitely jumped. She properly got her. But I mean, it took 500 meters for her to catch up again. And I mean, hey, but it was such a good race.
It was good.
And Voss, this girl, do you know? I got in a bit of jip. So from the last one, I said for the Flanders prediction, this is how good my predictions are. I said that Voss was an outsider. I got a couple of people saying, "How can you say Voss is an outsider?" And it's like, well, it's not that she's an outsider; it's that she is. You want to say that she's reaching the twilight of her career. She won her first World Championship 16 years ago.
Right, it's crazy.
And suddenly she's winning, but properly winning and dominating. And you kind of look back, actually, she's been dominating pretty much a lot of the race over the last 16 years. I mean, she's just amazing.
She's won Fleche 5 times.
Yeah.
But not for 7 years.
Yeah.
So she's won it 5 times in a row, but her last win at Fleche was 7 years ago.
I mean, she's just
which is
amazing.
like 12 years since her first win at Fleche.
Yeah, phenomenal.
And there she is winning Amstel Gold.
It's crazy.
Greatest rider of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
I think so.
And arguably men's and women's. Yeah. Pound for pound.
Sure. Pound for pound.
Pound for pound. There's my love of MMA coming through. Pound for pound. She's the best. Or kilo for kilo.
Cycling's first MMA style podcast.
That's right. Again, it's just opinions, isn't it? At the end of the day. So Amstel Gold. It was actually quite nice it being on early, because obviously both Amstel's and similar to Fleche, which is happening tomorrow. It's they do laps of a circuit, so it's quite nice having the women's and then the men's. Like watching it. I mean, they were up early, but watching it after breakfast, it was great.
It's cool.
They should be drunk by lunchtime.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The only pain with the women's is there's just not enough coverage. Like you just get to see the last 30k or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's an hour and a half of Fleche tomorrow, and the men's gets 4 hours. It's ridiculous.
It's just not enough, because it's not like it's not exciting or anything like that. So it's
I mean, not to get political, but I'm gonna.
Here we go.
These 2 races, Fleche and Liege, run by ASO. So it's just the same old story.
They're not my friends.
No, not your friends. No, exactly. They are starting to change slowly, but there is demand for it, and it's really exciting racing. It is really exciting racing.
It's the same for Liege. There's an hour and a half of coverage on Sunday for the women's and 4 hours on Sunday for the men's.
And do you know what? Like, credit to a lot of the. Well, I mean, let's face it, they're our competitors now, but other either podcasts or sort of people on YouTube who review them, they're doing just as much coverage of the men's and the women's, which is great. So
but ours is best.
Ours is best, but we know that, but that's not what we're talking about here. No, but it is great that kind of you can feel that tide starting to change. Amazing Amstel Gold race. Danny?
Speaking of close finishes, Brabantse-Pil was very, very close in the women's as well. Another photo finish. Looked like Wallone had got it, and she's kind of celebrating as she crosses the line. You see her hand
in the air,
And I think Ruth Winder got it by like a whisker, literally a whisker.
She's the American champ, is that right?
Yeah. Very strong rider. So it'll be good to see how she goes sort of this week.
Jay,
you ruined my fucking notes.
Jamie's notes are covered in water. Shame. It's just been really exciting. Obviously, in the men's race, we were upstairs watching it, screaming.
I was going to say, were you screaming?
Absolutely going mental. It was amazing. Yeah, the three of them, Trentin, Wout van Aert, and Pidcock in the break, managed to hold it off. They got really slow, and you're like, no, don't. They're going to catch. But it's always the camera angles that make it look closer. And Tom Pidcock comes through right at the end there. Yeah. Brilliant. I mean, to be fair, it's well deserved, isn't it? Because he has been one of the most exciting riders in this classic season. He's always up there at the front, even at the races where you think, he might not sort of do well, like Milan-San Remo. Like, he was there and he was attacking, and it's just brilliant. It's really, really great to see him, and hopefully many, many more.
It's great to see some of the younger riders moving away from that kind of Team Sky approach as well, I think. You see guys like Pogacar just attacking really hard on some of those mountaintop finishes. And young guys like Pidcock and Wout van Aert, Mathieu van der Poel, just riding, not
a really attacking
style of racing, which is so much more interesting to watch. And that's one of the only good things about having really short races in the women's field is you get to see a lot more attacking. Like Amstel women's race was a really attacking race. It was great to watch.
But that was the same with the Olympics. When I say the Olympics, when the Olympics was here, the women's race was a really, really exciting race to watch. It was just attack after attack after attack. Yeah, I loved it. Jay, what have you taken away the last few weeks watching racing?
Well, I think everything we've covered, all points that I enjoyed, but there's 3 things we missed. The first one, the most important one, Giro race team took its first win of the year.
The Giro race team, that's right.
Tom Vasson delivered his first victory for the Giro race team in his first ever race.
That's impressive.
Testament to Danny's coaching, I guess.
So
how to race.
Do you know, I want to take a moment to shout Tom out. So every November, obviously we didn't do it last year in 2020, but so the last one would have been 2019. We used to do this run to the beach, not a run, not a bike ride.
Winter solstice.
It was basically like a winter solstice, kind of like fish and chips. I think we ride down. So it was sort of sponsored by Taco sort of beach run, ride down. And so he came, and he was relatively new into cycling, and he won't mind me saying he was a little bit overweight. And he came, and it was a freezing cold day, and he had. You look at him and you're like, here's a guy who's obviously new to cycling, didn't have the right kit, as in he just wasn't wearing enough layers, and it was a cold day and he was freezing. And so we get to the top of Ditchling, and we knew there was a storm coming. So instead of going down into Brighton, we turned around. But there was a couple of people who said, actually, I'm running out of time, I need to get the train. So he went and got the train. And later that day, he goes online, he's actually buying some kit. He was actually buying some kit from our shop, which was great, because he realised how cold he was. But since then, he's just put so much effort and work in, and he has lost a lot of weight, and he is an absolute weapon on the bike over like the space of a year. And it is, I feel it sounds silly to say it, but I feel immensely proud to see this guy go from like nothing, go from proper new cyclist
That's so cool.
to like just ripping it. And the first race he enters, and racing's not for everybody, but he's gone, I'll give it a crack. He wins.
By himself too.
By himself.
He was
chipped off.
Super nervous, but he did what he's good at. Pedaled really fucking hard.
So shout out to Tom Vasson. You're a good man, awesome. And it's just a great story. I just love it. I just think that's retire now. Exactly. One and done.
Exactly. That's it. And while we're on the subject of great stories, Mark Cavendish.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 4 out of 8 wins in Tour of Turkey.
Yeah.
It's good to see him back, isn't it? Everyone loves Cav.
There's been a lot of people that have been very quick to say, it's only the Tour of Turkey. Do you know what? Like, excuse my language, but fuck that. Like, he's still against some very good riders.
Yeah, Philipsen's huge sprinter.
But the fact that he was being written off and that no teams were giving him a chance, the fact that he said, no, like, I don't know if I'm going to win again, but I just love racing. So, like, I just want to do it. And the fact that, to kind of quick step of giving him that shot, is wicked.
Yeah, it's good.
Danny, we were talking about earlier, weren't we? Or, kind of earlier in the year. He's just going to play that kind of like coaching role, that sort of like mentor role to kind of bring these young guys through. No, he's not.
Pretty good mentor.
Win.
Yeah. No, he's not. He's there to win, which is wicked.
It's cool.
No, it's been really good to watch, and he's looks quick too. Like it's not like he's
Philipsen's a good
just winning
sprinter.
these rubbish sprints. He's always been a really like good tactical sprinter. But he's been really moving.
So my prediction is that he's going to win the Tour de France.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, overall.
Yellow jersey.
Yeah, that's my prediction.
Yeah.
Hashtag Breakaways Breweries.
The Tour de France preview is coming, and that's probably all we'll talk about that episode is Mark Cavendish, yellow jersey in Paris.
He might not be on the start list, but he's going to win.
You heard it here first.
Jordan's putting his house on it down at the bookies tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I think like the last thing we missed is not as fun. Bit of a downer this one, but Bidon Gate. The rider that got disqualified for chucking his bidon to a fan. And just the ridiculousness of that when the UCI...
What race was that in?
What race was that in, Danny?
I can't remember.
Was it Flanders?
I think it
was Flanders.
Yeah, it was Flanders, actually.
Yeah.
It was like half an hour in.
Biggest race of the year for the guy, and he's been given the flick for giving his bottle to a kid.
So in one of the stage races, I think it was Tirreno, Adriatico, there was this helicopter shot, and it looked awful because and people are literally just bottles and bags literally just going into like this kind of like just like hedge basically. It looked terrible, but that was like the designated zone. I was in like, this is where you can kind of put all this stuff. But that was the clip that was used. Like, look at these cyclists. Just, it literally. It looked like a tip. Like everyone was just. It was pretty funny actually. But I mean,
classic framing effect.
This guy, and he was in a break, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or was he catching back up?
I think he was solo somewhere and just dropped a bottle off for a fan, whether he was out the back with a puncher or I don't know. But he was solo somewhere. That's often where
he was by himself.
That's often where That's often where I spend most of my time.
I mean, like all my bidons in my cupboard at home are scrounged on the side of the road when the Surrey Classic comes through here.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm not going to get any new bid-ons now really sucks.
You're going to have to start paying.
They're available in store and online at
All mine are going to biodegrade, and I'm going to have to buy some.
Oh, how about it?
Well, the same happened in the women's race, and actually the female rider was fined more for throwing a bidon than the female winner won.
Jesus.
That is ridiculous.
The fine was then dropped down a bit, but initially the fine for dropping a bidon was more than the winner.
And that is the UCI at their finest, isn't it?
That is such a
joke.
joke.
Yeah,
not to get political, but we are.
This is the political podcast today.
Yeah, why not? No, I mean that's not okay.
It's not right.
Yeah,
it's not right.
Has there been any further movement with women's pay since earlier in the season?
No.
No, really.
No, nothing.
Jeez.
Nothing has actually been said officially.
Yeah.
No, there's still rumours that it's work in progress, but there's also work in progress about a female Tour de France. So
yeah, sure.
No,
I feel like it's been work in progress for 50 years now.
Right?
But anyway,
So no, people are talking about it, and the UCI are saying the right thing, but no, nothing's actually happened.
Well, the more that we can keep sort of talking about it, like on a local level, it will change.
Yeah.
Let's keep getting political.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that's. I mean, I feel shocked that they were fined more than the winner won.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
ridiculous.
awful. That's just
awful.
awful.
The fines across the men's and women's race are probably equal, but they can't equal the prize money. It's just a joke, isn't it? So stupid.
Speaking of disqualifications, another local 2 hours, Alex Richardson.
Oh yeah,
got disqualified from the Tour of Turkey.
His interpretation of the puppy paws.
Did you see this?
No, I didn't. What happened?
So do you know Alex?
No.
So Alex Richardson. So he's a local. Great. He's got a cool story. But that's around the time. I'm hoping to have him on a podcast.
Get him on the pod.
Yeah. But he. So obviously the UCI now have the rule where you can't go on the handlebars.
Puppy paws, isn't it?
Yeah. So you have to be in control of the bike and have your hands on the levers or hood somehow. So he was on. I mean, he did look ridiculous. He was on. His forearms are on the handlebars, and he had his little fingers kind of outstretched just to be on outside, and he was on the front,
resting on the levers. Yeah.
And of course, he got DQ'd for it. But I think you're going to see more of that to kind of because it's just been a
people
part of
will want to bend it because
again of
everything
is.
Yeah,
I mean, all the things for the UCI to get rattled about. Of course, rider safety. Yes, that's important. Sure.
Except when you want to have barriers that stay together when you crash into.
Yeah, there was still a huge barrier crash in the same race.
And then in the race that Jakobsen came back. That was his first race back, and he saw this horrendous.
It was one of Alex Richardson's teammates that came off worse in the crash with the barriers, an Alpecin rider, and and so they take a shortcut with those barriers, but they'll DQ his teammate for...
Or they'll allow for, the women's pay to just be the same. So, God, this has got political very quickly.
Can we talk about another positive from Tour of Turkey?
Yeah, please.
I want to shout out to an ex-kind of teammate, Jay Vine. He raced for the team I used to race for, Nero Continental, back in Australia. And he got a contract with Alpecin Phoenix. Yeah, that's my claim to fame.
I was sort of a teammate with him.
I raced on the same team as the guy who's now really fit.
I touched him. I touched him once.
On your school trip.
Didn't even race at the same time as him.
Danny's like, can we edit that out, please?
Anyway, he got second on the Queen stage of Turkey and took second overall, which was great. He got a contract through the Zwift Academy.
That's right. He's the guy that won the Zwift Academy, of course.
So, I mean, Alpecin must be stoked, right? They've actually got someone who's really good.
So I heard that he moved to... I heard that he moved to Girona a few weeks ago and has already set the KOM up Rochefort.
He basically just moved there and went and did 450 for 20 minutes.
That's like if you move to Surrey, you go and take the KOM at Box Hill, don't you?
Easy.
In a car, maybe.
Yeah.
I had a KOM once.
Was it your street?
Yeah, it didn't last very long.
My driveway.
No, it was the Belgie. We had a KOM on that stretch of the Belgie, and then the next week when I invited everybody to join it, it wwent. Story of my life, folks.
So when I did the Belgie on my own, when I invented the route,
yeah, basically, yeah,
I was KOM of it.
Hey ho. Anyway, that's enough about me. Right, let's get on to. Should we start with Liege? Let's start with Liege.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that's not chronological, but let's start.
Should we chat the differences between like, what changes now?
Between the two races
from
Episode
Flanders
1
into the Ardennes. What's the difference?
As in, like geographically.
Well, geographically and also in terms of the racing.
Go for it.
You can do geographically.
Well, I'll tell you what. Like,
as our regional expert,
yeah, been to Belgium once. No.
Did a school trip there.
Yeah. I had a cigarette there when I was 14. It sounds ridiculous, but I always feel quite sad when Liège happens because it's like the end of like the first period of racing in the year. Like you've got this kind of, you get so excited in February when you've got Omloop, knowing that that's leading up to sort of Flanders and then Roubaix, and then you go into the Ardennes. And you're just like, and that kind of like really exciting one day, kind of like racing for the men's and women's, where it's just really exciting racing is kind of, it's gone. And then we move into the tours. And yes, there's other one day races. Obviously there's Lombardia later in the year. And, San Sebastian. But yeah, I just love this period of year. So, it moves from Flanders, which is kind of like, central east part of Belgium, and then it goes to the west part. Very, very different terrain, which Danny will talk about. Like completely different terrain, so it's a very different rider. It's French speaking part of Belgium, and that's all I got.
And Liège is it the second longest? At 260k.
Yeah. So it's a big old race.
So Liège as the race is called La Doyenne, or basically means the old lady, because it's the oldest of the monuments, and I think the first one was in 1870 something.
Wow.
I mean, I could be wrong on that.
Imagine the carbon bikes there.
The 1892, I do have it written down in front of me. 1892, 33 riders started, 19 finished.
Wow.
So even today, Danny can talk about how savage it is.
It sounds like a normal Saturday when Danny's on.
But it always seems to be a ride for the just the toughest and grittiest sort of people. I mean, we're talking about Liège, Bastogne, Liège, and it's been around since 1892 for men. It's taken a long time for them finally to have a women's version of it, which only started in 2017. So I mean, it's a real shame that it's taken that long, but at least they've done it. And the last 4 races of Liège, Bastogne, Liège, it is a similar course, but just much shorter.
It starts in Bastogne.
It's basically just kind of
Bastogne Liège.
LBL for the men, and then just BL for the women. Yeah. But I mean, there's those very iconic images. Like there's that one of Bernardino in I think it's from like 80 or 82. He's just covered in snow and just this, kind of just gritty, arduous, hard riding. But it's savage. It's not a flat race at all.
No.
Danny?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the big thing with the Ardennes is the hills just get steeper and longer.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the hills in the Flanders region are well under a kilometre long. Yeah. They might be really steep and kind of cobbled and
bumpy,
horrible, but they're not as long and hard as the climbs in the Ardennes. So I mean, like the finish climb the men's Liège is 260 k's with about 4,500 metres of climbing.
Yeah. Try and do 4,500 metres of climbing around here. Yeah. It'd take you about 13 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you could do it in.
I mean, you just have to go up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah. It's a lot of climbing, and the women's is 140 k's, which is quite long for a women's World Tour race. And I couldn't find how many metres of climbing are in there, but it would be a lot because it's basically like 50 kilometres of rolling, and then it's just filthy bergs.
7 climbs, the men have got 11.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot.
There's still a lot.
Yeah.
It's almost the same amount of climbing.
As well. That's
exactly. Yeah. So it's hard. It's really hard, and it tends to be won by sort of lighter, punchier riders than win. The Flanders races.
Is that last 100k of? Well, I mean, it would be both races, but is that last 100k the hardest in cycling?
It's got to be up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be up there.
In terms of like hardest 100 kilometres of a race anywhere, it's got to be one of the hardest.
I have a couple of friends who are really into sort of the sportives, and so they've done the full length ones of Flanders, Roubaix, and all of them have said like Liege is without doubt the hardest.
Oh really? More than Roubaix and everything.
Oh, I mean, it's a different obviously style of riding, but it's just so attritional. I mean, because actually, to be fair, the comparison to Surrey Hills isn't that far fetched.
No, none of the climbs are really long.
We're not talking about alpine climbs, but it's just repeating a lot of the climbs. Yeah. It's not flat, so it's up and then it's down. It's up and then it's down, and it just wears you down. And especially at some of the paces that both the men's and women's are doing, it's frightening.
I remember Pete Clifton, friend of Giro. Yeah. He did the Sportif the year it rained and Fuglsang won. And it sounded like the most awful day on a bike ever. Just 260k in the rain, in the cold, up and down hills. It sounded like a proper war story.
He's had some unluck. Like he was with us the first year we went to Flanders and did the Sportif. And it was a grim day. It was wet, it was cold. Unfortunately, one of his friends snapped his saddle with 40k to go.
How do you snap a saddle?
I don't know.
Sitting too hard.
Oh yeah. So he snapped his saddle with 40k to go. Finished.
What?
Out of the saddle for 40k. Just horrible.
Oh,
horrible. Yeah, I know. But it is it's a completely different. It suits a very different style of rider to what we've seen in the Belgian classics.
You see the GC riders, so your Tour de France and Giro. Well, maybe not Giro; it's too close to Giro. But your Tour de France riders, people like Roglic and Pogačar, are joining their classic squads to kind of create these hybrid squads that the classics guys will deal with the early stuff, and then they'll leave Roglic to get on with it, or whoever else.
So it's a great race to watch, and in 2019 they changed the finish, so there used to be an uphill sort of drag for like maybe like a half a k, and then there was a sharp left-hander, and then it was kind of like a flat straight to the finish, and we've just seen some great finishes over the years. I remember. Well,
last year was one of the best.
Well, last year was a newer finish.
Yeah.
So that was obviously the finish that goes flat back into the centre of Liège. So, but before then, there was always that kind of like drag up between the I want to say houses or just buildings.
It's like a big wide street, isn't it?
And in 2014, when sort of friend of Giro Simon Gerrans won. That was when Dan Martin crashed on that final corner, and he slid out and watched the whole peloton go around. But obviously it's an interesting one actually, and it's worth talking about because we're talking about how these kind of different riders come through for these Ardennes, and they're more GC riders. Not for the women's. The women's it's the same riders. And I wonder, we touched on it a little bit last podcast with regards to literally the size of the teams. Like the size of the teams are a lot smaller, so with some of the men's teams you can have dedicated classics and dedicated tours, but with the women's
they do all of them.
They do all of them. Yeah, that's the thing, and you are seeing some of those similar type of riders. So obviously we've seen with Liège, we've seen some of the old guard. Well, I'm saying the old guard, just some of the very sort of current firm favourites win over the last few years. We've got Van der Bruggen has won twice. Van Vleuten, and then last year it was Lizzie
podcast favourite.
I'm not sure Lizzie's on form for this year.
No, I think she's been sick, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has.
Has she?
And Van der Breggen's been unwell. So I think I'll be going with Van Vleuten for this one.
Oh, here we go. But already getting into predictions.
Yeah, sorry, jumping ahead. Getting excited. But I don't think Lizzie will keep her title, unfortunately.
Yeah, sure.
Which is a shame because I love to see her do well.
She has been competing, but just not. Hasn't been up there, has she?
Maybe she's saving it.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, really interesting one. But so obviously it is a very sort of like old traditional race, and have we sort of done it justice as to kind of explain what type of riding it is? For the men's it's 260, for the women's it's 140, and it's just up and down all day.
Just brutal.
Like just attritional. Yeah. There's no real respite.
Yeah, the race goes backwards rather than forwards.
Yeah, and it's essentially a case of who can hang on the longest. Really.
Yeah, last man standing.
And it's usually like a very small group, or one maybe solo riders.
with one leg warmer. Shout out Michael Woods or Rusty Woods. Did you see? Because it was, what year was it? That was a year that was the year 2019.
Yeah, full sang one. Filthy day.
And I remember seeing, because obviously he was trying to take off his leg warmers when there was an attack, so I only got one off. So he finished with one leg warmer. And I remember, I think it was like later that year, or it must have been later that year because that's just how dates work, at Halloween. There was a number of people who were wearing just one leg warmer.
That's such a niche Halloween costume. You're taking cycling too far when you're wearing that to a party.
That's pretty good. I think that was pretty funny.
So what have you come as? It's a long story. I'm probably not going to bother explaining.
And, last year, or 2019, or we can talk about the finish last year in the men's, but in 2019, Fuglsang, just the save of save. Do you remember that? On the final descent into the town,
pouring rain.
Oh my goodness, his bike just went like almost like 180 degrees either side, and he saved
Need for Speed Underground.
Properly saved
Drift.
it. Yeah,
wow.
It was pretty good. It's pretty good.
But yeah, like last year's finish it's got to be one of the best, with Alaphilippe posting up early, having chopped two riders in the sprint, and then Roglic nicking the win anyway.
Oh, yeah, so good.
Roglic comes in, but Alaphilippe got demoted as well.
Yeah, demoted. So Alaphilippe celebrated second, ended up sixth.
And why was that?
Because he chopped Hershey and Pogacar in the sprint.
Oh,
because Pogacar and Hershey looked good for the win, and it still will never be known if they would have out-sprinted Roglic. Roglic was just on the clear side of the road.
Yeah.
And Alaphilippe posted up early, and
so it's a long day for the men, relatively long day for the women. I mean, 140k is not a short race, but obviously it's not 200 and sort of like 50, unfortunately. But it's attritional, and then it winds down, so it's up and down all day, and then it comes back into Liege. In the sort of town centre, so it's a flat finish, open, and it's essentially a sprint for anybody who's been able to sort of hold on that long, or an opportunity for a break. So with the women's, what are we thinking? Are we thinking it's going to be a day for the break, or a day for a little bunchy?
No, it'd be the breakaway for sure. It's got to be at Liege.
I don't know. I mean, Amstel there was a break, but it got caught at the very end, as sort of like we discussed. But I think Annemiek will try and get away and hold. Yeah, and if anybody can do it, she can.
She's strong enough and on form, so I think that's what her plan will be, to not go too early, but get away and then get some distance and then just hold the lead.
Yeah,
and she really targets the races that she wants to target. I know this sounds a bit stupid, but like she really turns up for the races that she really wants to win. She doesn't really care about the small races. She wants to win the monuments. So,
but we can't. We can't write out Vos, surely, or can we?
I don't know.
Does this race suit her?
Might be a bit knackered from.
Sounds like we have.
She might be a bit knackered because she's been racing for 20 years, but apparently not.
I don't think she's got the pure fitness to get up the final berg if it's really hard. If you've got like Van Vleuten and people like that who can climb really fast. I don't know if Vos can get over, but if it's not hard up the final berg, because it's 18 k's from the finish or something.
So we're saying for both the men's and women's, this race is going to reward a gutsy rider, a rider who's prepared to take a risk and suffer up the last one, maybe two climbs to get that gap, and knowing that they can kind of hold on the descent and sort of time trial it into the finish. I think so. It's a great race to watch, isn't it?
So good. Should we hit some predictions?
Okay.
What do we got?
Jamie.
Van Vleuten, Grace Brown, Cassia Niewiadoma. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. No.
Just Grace Brown in there for Danny, really.
Okay.
Because I
trust his. She got second last year. She's looking.
I trust his opinion.
Yeah, I thought she wasn't doing it, to be honest, and I've just checked the start list, and she is on it now.
Well, that was lucky, because I didn't check the start list.
Apparently she's going to be there, which is good.
She was holding well in breakaway last week, so if she
was off the front by herself for
she's out there for a long time.
Yeah,
there you go.
But I think she'll be up there. I think that's a good shout.
I've gone a bit different. I've gone Van Vleuten, Vollering, and Spratt, but I'll probably swap Spratt for Brown.
Oh, yeah.
I think. But I think Wollering's going to be up there. She looks so strong.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was more of a sprinter.
I mean, what does she do? She's got. When was it? Oh no, hang on. Am I looking at my Liege? Yeah, no, I am. Just edit that little bit out there.
No way.
All your mistakes are staying in, Danny.
No, I stick by it. I reckon she's up there.
Demi Vollering second, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
Nice, mate.
Oh, who was your outside pick, Jamie?
Lizzie Dignan, obviously.
Lizzie Dignan, fair enough.
Just in case she's hiding something.
All right.
She could be holding back just for this.
Hopefully.
Could be.
Yeah.
I've gone for Ashley Millman-Passio as an outside.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, good shout.
She hasn't had a great year, but maybe this is her race.
She climbs well.
What are you saying, Lou?
I reckon Annemiek van Vleuten first.
That's free.
Grace Brown 2, and Vollering 3rd. Is that the same as you?
It's kind of mixing.
Okay.
First 2.
And then outside I'll go Lizzie.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've learned from previous mistakes, and I'm not even going to do a podium. I'm just going to do first place, Voss. So because I just don't want to get the social hate, the social media.
Just all in on Voss now.
Yeah, just all in on Voss, and she's also my outsider.
Even if she doesn't win, she's still one in your head.
Yeah. Okay, onto the men's predictions, I guess. So obviously it's a slightly longer race. Previous winners, I mean the winners list is just full of just incredibly accomplished riders over the years who have had success in GCs. Many world champions in there. Probably looking back in the last 10 years, the one that sort of stood out as I wouldn't have predicted that was Wout Poels. And that was when he was at Sky. And you just didn't really see it because he was always such a good domestique for other people. But I mean, obviously Gilbert's won it, Dan Martin's won it. Valverde's
won way too many.
Won it many times. And he's coming back. This is his last season racing.
Oh, you can't write him off.
He's on the good gear this year.
Yeah.
Shh, can't say that.
Just like a few others turning up.
It's the omerta, mate. You can't say that.
Danny's going to get whacked.
All right. So I went last this time, or that time. So I'm going to go first this time. So my podium is Pogačar, Alaphilippe, and Roglic. That's my podium, and then my outsider is João Almeida.
Oh yeah.
Fair enough.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Jamie.
Not Voss.
No, Louise, you can go.
Although she'd probably do all right.
Actually, my outsider first is Voss.
She hang around for the men's race as well. Love it.
Yeah. Pidcock, Roglic, and Alaphilippe.
Pidcock. Nice.
I just want him to get it because he was robbed last week.
Well, so I brought this up earlier on today with these boys. Pidcock, it would be amazing. He could do well, and obviously he's very light, very strong. Is he tired?
Theoretically not racing?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he definitely won't come first.
Well, not currently on the
not on the PCS start list, no.
So
Adam Yates.
So on the Ineos start list is Teo.
Oh.
And I'm obviously, he's local, well, as in he's a London boy. You want to back him. I don't see why this race wouldn't suit him. These guys gave me a bit of jip, but I don't understand why it wouldn't suit him. Is he just doing it to get some like fitness in his legs ahead of the Giro? Is he racing the Giro? I don't know, but it could suit him surely. If in the same case as Yates is racing, then I don't see why it couldn't suit Teo.
Carapaz. They just got a stacked team.
They do.
Any single one of them could win.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Danny.
All right, I'm going to go Pog, Rog, and then Alaphilippe. It's very boring.
That's the same as me.
But yeah, I think those three have got to be up there. My outsider is Benoit Cosnefroy.
Bonjour.
I just like the way he races.
Isn't he a chef?
Pretty sure he's got a restaurant in like East London somewhere.
I'm pretty sure he's a pastry chef.
Right.
Benoit Cosnefroy, I make the tartin.
Who's his team?
He's racing for AG2R.
Yeah.
Okay.
AG Desal Le Mondial.
Great kit.
Sacré bleu.
Great
kit. Shorts.
Best kit in the world tour.
Yeah, they do a good kit. I'm down with that. Not into it. No.
Brown shorts.
Not in.
Yeah, it saves you
Handy
a lot of
on
hassle.
bad days. But
Handy. All right, Jamie. What are you saying, bud?
just because I yawned and abused Danny's podium there, I'm going to have to go rogue. I'll say Hershey to win. Cosnefroid second. David Godou third.
Oh. Who's David Godou?
Roglic is going to get hungry and then a pinch flat on one of the descents. Game over. Pogacar's going to attack early and have to get the train home. Alaphilippe's going to celebrate 20k from the finish. And
I thought it finished on top of the.
Alaphilippe's going to get his handlebar snagged by a musette or something.
Yeah. Wow. No, he's going to get DQ'd for giving his bottle to a child.
Well, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first.
David Godou third. That's the big takeaway.
All right. Well,
Danny, do you reckon Hershey's win will be legit if he wins?
I would like to neither confirm nor deny these rumours.
Wow. Come on, boys, lowering the tone. All right, so there's our Liege, and we'd love to hear your predictions as well.
We had one come in.
Oh yeah, let's
Dan Fleche.
Go on, Dan.
Okay. Dan Fleche. Or do I have to quickly find it?
Oh, he's finding actually.
It was Rhodes.
Yeah,
so let's So any of you want to share your predictions, use Twitter or Instagram, #Breakaways and Breweries, and we'll at the end of the pod we'll share our Instagram handle so you can tag us and make us feel special. What are you saying?
Dan Fletcher's mixed it up slightly. Oh. He's gone Roglic, but obviously with that pinch flat, it's going to be tough. He's got Kwiatkowski second and Michael Woods third.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Michael Woods.
So I did have Mike Woods as an outsider. But I scratched.
Cool. If he gets both leg warmers off, he is dangerous. He's dangerous.
Jamie, you're in good form tonight, mate.
I had a Jupiler, ain't I?
Yeah. what? Yeah. We're going to go back for a cigarette now.
Yeah. Just a quick cheeky out.
All right,
out by the skip.
We'll open up the next one.
Smoko.
For smoke. I'll open up the next one. Another beautiful Ardennes beer from the French-speaking part of Belgium. This is Trappiste, Rochefort, quite a well-known Belgian beer. I say well-known, but a proper good Trappiste. This is their number 6. Just a really lovely, drinkable beer. Oh, Danny.
Trappiste is what? What's the story behind a Trappiste?
Oh, easy. These are beers that are made in monasteries.
There we go. Knew you had that in the locker.
The Rochefort 10 is one of my favourite ever beers.
Oh yeah, I actually prefer the 6. So there is a very well-known beer called Westfalen, or if you're proper Belgian, it's the Westfalen. I can never. I feel the right languages, but Belgium is. I just cannot get on board. No matter how many years, I just don't have the gruff for it, I don't think. But Westfalen, it's this beautiful monastery and make these very, very, very limited beers. But when I say limited, a bottle is about €20, and they're only available certain times of the year. There's waiting lists for even places over here, and for like a case, it's like, a couple £100. But I have had one before, and they're lovely. But yeah, you pay for it. What do you think of the beer?
Good, great.
So
great European head on it.
So have a look at the in the links. Have a look in the links in the description below.
That is lovely.
We do list out these beers. Do you want to have a little taste of that one? A little bit left in there.
A little flavour.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Let me grab you another.
7.5%.
Oh jeez.
Lucky I'm cycling home.
Right.
Well, we've got these beers for you as well to take home.
Thank you.
Yeah. When you're not so hungover.
You just get to enjoy them at your convenience.
I'm not
hungover today. I haven't been sick yesterday.
Yay. It's progress.
Oh, we never found that CCTV
before you walked in.
Yeah.
All right, cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, I do like that beer. All right, so final week of Ardennes. You've got Amstel Gold on the Sunday. You've got Liege, Bastogne, Liege the following Sunday. And then in the middle, so tomorrow, got La Fleche Wallone. Danny, talk to us about La Fleche Wallone.
I've never been as excited about Fleche.
Really?
I don't know whether that's a hot take, but it's always like...
I don't know if it's a what?
A hot take.
Oh.
Actually...
It's always wait for the Mur, like
which is a great
30, 40 guys hit the bottom of the Mur, they rip each other's legs off for like 2 minutes, and then the race finishes. I don't know. No?
Well, you are of a popular opinion there, because we did a recent poll on our Instagram, and 75% of people thought Liege Bastogne Liege was better than Fleche Wallone.
Three
so
people.
You are the 75% of the public.
You voted lots of times.
No. We actually
big shout out to the 4 people who voted.
Yeah. Cheers, myself, Jordan, Danny, and Louise for voting.
That's funny.
No, we actually had like 30 votes.
Wow.
75-25.
See, it's great.
Probably should have reshared the result after doing the poll.
Yeah, you should have done it. Yeah.
But Danny has agreed with the poll.
Interesting.
So there you go. But I quite like them,
I definitely hear what you're saying. I mean, obviously, so for the for the listeners, it's for the men's race, it does a circuit at the end. It's 3 times, and it's 3 times up the Muir, and it finishes on the top. For the women's, it's 2 times up the Muir. But it's difficult to put into words just how staggeringly steep the Muir is. Like it's just Muir. What am I talking about? Muir Huey. God, I'm getting confused with Cap Moy.
Muir de Huy.
Muir de Huy. Yeah, sorry. The Huy. I mean, it is just alarmingly steep. I haven't personally been there. Haven't ridden it. Have you?
No.
When you did your thing,
which I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I've had some friends who've gone to watch the race there, and they just said it's difficult to even stand on it. That's how steep it is. So I suppose that's what adds to the excitement of it, because it all comes down to that lead up into that finish, into the final ramp. And again, it's just whoever cannot hold on the longest. And you'll see somebody go at the bottom, and they never, ever, ever make it to the top. They always get caught. So it's just like real suffering, really. Yeah, you might not get the same finishes that you would. You're not going to get a sort of lunge to the line that you would at that Liège, for example. But I think it's a great race.
My guy Hershey went well last year.
Yeah.
My guy Benoit Cosnefroy.
What
second last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's why he's a good pick for Liège.
What were the results last year then?
So the women's race last year was Van der Breggen, Cecily Triple-Ludwig, and then third Demi Vollering.
Okay.
Which is part of the reason why I had Demi Vollering in my top 3 for Liège. And Anna Van der Breggen has won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six of them.
She's got to be going
6 in a row, which is just crazy. Yeah.
That's like Valverde level.
Yeah.
Because he won 5 in a row, 6 in a row?
5 in a row, I think. Yeah. Huge.
So she's won 6 in a row.
Yeah.
Pound for pound. Another pound for pound.
Pound for pound.
Mariana Vos is...
I don't know if she'll be able to get 7 if she's not been well, but...
Mariana Vos, she's won it 5 times.
Yeah, back in like 1980.
Yeah, but she's back. She's back, like Cav.
She's back.
Yeah, she certainly is back. So she's won it 5 times.
She could be a great shout for this one.
What are you saying, Lou?
I think I want Anna Van der Breggen to come back from not feeling well and get 7 in a row. But also, I do love Cecily Uttrup-Ludwig, so I'd love to see her win.
Absolutely.
Just for the post-race interview.
Yeah.
You said that about Flanders.
Yeah.
I really want to see this girl win.
I know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen an interview with this. I don't know.
Ever?
Haven't you?
No.
Oh
my gosh.
I don't know. Is she just like completely foul-mouthed? Does she like...
No, she's just the most enthusitic person ever.
Good energy, yeah.
Super energy.
Or maybe
she did a cool
done.
video with Matt Stevens for... It might have been Sigma.
That.
Yeah. That was really good.
Because from the Flanders thing you guys are posting, I really want to see a win. I was like, is she just controversial?
No,
like, is
she's
she
just
this girl
super
who's
fun.
just... Oh, cool.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Oh, amazing. So it's... with regards to the route, it does 3 finishing laps, and then in the case of the women's, it's 2. But how many kilometres left when they reach the first one? Danny.
So there are 8 climbs in the women's race. Let me get the profile up, and I'll tell you.
Just enjoy this beer while Danny looks up information.
The local circuit starts. Let me zoom in. About 40k from the finish. So then you hit the Mur de Huy pretty much straight away after that at about 98k, so 32k's from the finish. And then you hit the Côte de RF or something, 2.4k at 4.9%. So it's not super steep, and then you hit a slightly steeper one, which is 1.6 k's at 6.2%, and then you hit the Mur again, which is like 1k at 11.5%, which is just outrageous.
But that's like 11.5 average. Like, there's points of it. I mean, it's just absurd, absolutely absurd. It's interesting. I definitely understand what you're saying about it's not as exciting. I think it's just quite fun having a race in the week all the time. It is nice.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of like because it's usually this is that time of year where there's always racing going on. We've also got the Tour of the Alps going on at the minute. There's a lot going on, and it just after this week it just feels a bit like just kind of getting ready for the Giro, I guess. But hey, look, at least there's racing. Last year there wasn't.
Giro preview coming soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nice. It's a great race, and it'll be interesting not seeing spectators on it, because that's usually, again, as with all these
loads of cowbell.
A lot of cowbell.
Yeah, no cowbell this year. It's a real shame.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, so predictions.
Is Pidcock racing tomorrow?
Pidcock is racing Fleche, and he'd be a bloody good shout for it.
Yes.
He's light and he's powerful.
Kilos.
Like he will do well.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my prediction. That's
gotcha.
it.
Done.
Just him.
Fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just him, and then like 10 minutes.
Pidcock singular. Everyone else climbs off.
He was great at there was an interview with him straight after the Amstel race, and someone showed him the screenshot of this thing, and he's looking at it, he's like, you can't really tell.
He had to delete a tweet he did about it. Probably because he said the wrong or the not correct thing.
You could see he was annoyed about it.
He's
Can't really tell.
Bullshit. Aye, bullshit.
Should have put finish line camera on. Finish line.
There was all that stuff around, and it was the same with the women's race, because there was like, well, actually, that the camera is not at the same line as it's not supposed to be at the same line as the black line on it. And everyone's like, well, what are we jumping for then?
Right.
Like everyone's throwing for that black line. But hey ho. All right, so you've done your prediction. I'm going to be quite boring. I'm going to go the same as what I've said for Liege. Yeah. I just think they're all in form. So Alaphilippe, Roglic, and Pogačar. That's what I think.
I've done very similar.
And outsider is Woods.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough. I've gone Rog and then Pog. So I've switched the two.
Mm-hmm. Rogue.
Switch the Slovenians.
No, Rog.
Oh, all right.
And then Pidcock third. And my outsider is Valverde.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would be great, wouldn't it? It would be amazing.
Would it be great?
It's a win for the bad guys.
Do you know?
He's actually been banned for stuff.
Did you see the Movistar documentary? That was a couple of years ago.
On Netflix.
Yeah, on Netflix. Yeah. It was in Spanish, so you had to read the subtitles. But once you got beyond that, it was okay. How dare they make something that wasn't in English? But one of the things that I kind of like got on board with him with is it was one of the finishes that I think he won, but it was like a mountaintop finish. And normally you just expect they just hop in the bus and just ride it down. He got in the team car and he was driving.
Yeah.
But he was like...
He's fucking hammering.
Like a maniac.
Like thrashing down this thing. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
No, I think he won an uphill finish. Where was it, Danny? Recently.
What? Valverde?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
He won... Like, it was in like Tour of Zulia or something. Something road.
Large amount of wins recently.
But he won uphill. And it's a very steep, short climb at the end, much like Fleche.
Interesting.
So he'll go well. He's on my podium.
He could be preparing his whole season for this race because he's won it so many times.
He's on my podium.
Is he?
I've got him third.
You got him third.
I've got Hershey.
Oh.
Hershey wins everything in my books.
Yeah.
Except for this year when he's won that.
Hershey, Pidcock, Valverde. My outsider, David Gaudu.
Oh.
The guy went well at the Dauphiné last year. It was a long time ago, but he went well. He went really well.
Mate, I'm really liking your predictions here. You've definitely gone outside the box.
Yeah, no, I did a bit of research this week.
Shame he got water all over your notes.
Yeah, no, Danny drowned the bloody podium. But Are we doing women's podium? For
we haven't done it yet.
Sure, we haven't done it yet, but we will do. Yeah.
Oh. Do you want me to go?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Voss to win.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Just for you, John.
Cheers, mate.
Voss to win. And then Demi Vollering second. And then Grace Brown third.
Oh. Okay, interesting.
I just want Danny to be happy. You know.
I've got Demi Vollering first, Annemiek van Vleuten second, and Cecilia Trublowick third.
No Aussies.
What
the hell?
Sorry, Aussies. And outsider as Lizzie Dognan.
I didn't do an outsider.
Yeah. Didn't do an outsider. Come on, give us one.
Oh,
Go on, Lou.
Mm-hmm. So, I've got
Gigante.
Van der Breggen
Sarah
for 7th in a row. Voss, Cecily, outsider, Lizzie Dognan.
Yeah. So but
I'm not. I'd like the 7 in a row, but I don't think it's actually that likely.
So I've gone with that. Van der Breggen for 7, and then Voss, and I actually had Daigen on the podium. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if she's not going well at the minute, then I'll take that back.
There needs to be a hashtag VossBoss.
And then as my outsider, it's Voss.
VossBoss.
She's always your outsider.
She has to be. Yeah. Just to.
You're going to get tweeted for putting her as an outsider, mate.
Well, it's Bruno. Bruno was very unhappy about it, so I'm just making him more happy.
I've put her top step of the podium because she's not an outsider. VossBoss. Hashtag VossBoss.
I mean, I feel I have to sort of justify what I was saying. Of course, she's an absolute legend, but she's been around for so long. It's similar to Valverde. The odds are against, but yet she just keeps.
Or Cav.
She won last weekend.
Yeah, she just won last weekend. She just keeps producing it, and it's great. It's great to see it. It's great to see it. What are you boys giggling about?
I'll just.
Danny
Jamie's just spotted that I was looking to see whether we're going to do a preview of the Belgrade Banja Luka. Stage 4 tomorrow.
Stage 4 tomorrow.
That's exciting stuff.
Mate, who's going to win that one?
Huge start list.
Yeah?
Huge start list. We've got Bardiani CSF.
Ooh.
That's about it. I don't think anyone recognises any of the teams, if I'm honest. North Macedonia.
Apparently Vassen's got a wild card at this one. After his big win at Ardingly. His big win at Ardingly, and he's got a wild card for... what's that? Meridiana.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good.
We're just a development squad for the Belgrade Banjuka.
So, and it's time. It's time.
Come back.
And it's that time in the podcast to do Danny's tech tidbits. Danny, what's this? Danny's tech tidbits for this episode.
Well, on the last potty, we talked about clincher tyres possibly being at Roubaix. Shut up, Jamie. We didn't have a Roubaix, but we did have a Flanders winner on clincher tyres.
Oh, yeah.
Casper Asgreen was running old school inner tubes, normal tyres, and normal wheels. Called it.
So talk us through what's so groundbreaking about that. And I'm not saying that in like a detrimental way. Because he went straight on and he went straight on and he posted about it. And he was like, I did it on tubes.
Cheers to my sponsors.
What's so groundbreaking?
I mean, it's kind of reverse groundbreaking, right? Like this is like, technology from the 1920s, but it's I guess pros have been using tubular tyres, which is like a circular tyre glued to a rim for years and years.
Terrible.
And clinchers have always been thought to be either not fast enough or not good enough to run if you're going to get a flat and all that sort of thing. And I guess, I don't know, we chatted about it a bit last time that it seems to have been forced by Specialized / Roval more than maybe the team. But I mean, he's done the race and he's won on it, so you can't argue with that.
The difference is minimal.
All right. So what's this week's? Not what's last week's tech tidbit.
That's old news, bro.
So this week's tech tidbit is the weight versus aero debate. Where it gets a bit more exciting in these kind of real steep hilly races, where riders have got to choose between running like an aerodynamic setup, which will be faster in between the climbs, or a really lightweight setup, which will be faster on the bergs. Modern... Shut up, Jamie.
Yeah, shut up, Jamie. This is interesting.
Modern bikes with electronic drivetrains and hydraulic disc brakes and all the rest of it they're actually not that easy to get down to the UCI weight limit of 6.8 kilos. So it is interesting to see, especially once they bolt the Wallone tracker on and all the other stuff that they have to put on their bikes. So it will be interesting to see what people run. So last year when Roglic won, he was running the Bianchi XR4 in a rim brake. Very controversial.
But so,
Jamie.
He's due to get a pinch flat this weekend.
But he is due to get a pinch flat.
Yeah,
but if he runs tubular tyres, you can't pinch flat.
But so
no, but he won't be. He'll be running clinches because they're faster, according to Asgreen.
Well, he's not sponsored by Specialized. So that's
but
fine.
with regards to getting to the weight limit, obviously with this one thing, sure, but is it a weight penalty having electronic gears?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely.
So a lot of these guys not running electronic gears?
No, they're all running electronic gears.
Oh, right.
So I mean, is that you saying the frames are so light?
Well, that's why you saw, say, Jumbo-Visma last year running rim brakes a lot of the time, is because the Bianchi XR4s aren't the lightest bike in the world. They're an aero bike. Then they're not a particularly light aero bike. So they're all running the rim brake one because that's the way they could get them to 6.8. So you saw Wout van Aert winning Strade Bianchi last year on rim brakes.
And there was no contractual obligation to run disc brakes.
No contractual obligation to run disc brakes.
Industry.
So it's a marketing thing, basically, with the disc brake thing.
I mean, look, I like disc brakes. I ride them. I think they're better. They stop you better than rim brakes do. But I'm not racing at that level, and I'm not trying to get a bike to 6.8. So yeah, that's the. I mean, and
Team
then you'll
Sky will
see
be running their lightweight Millenstein. They probably paid full retail for. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's another edition of the Danny's Tech Tidbits. Thanks very much for that.
Yeah.
So we'll start to wrap things up. Jamie, you got any races coming up?
Yeah, I've got to do one on Sunday.
Oh, what's that?
East Surrey Hard Riders.
Isn't that a motorcycle club?
Sounds fucking hard, to be honest. No, this is against like actual good people, so it'll probably be a bit more disappointing than my
no. Come
original
on, got to believe in yourself. You always talk yourself down, but you're bloody good, Jack.
I bought. No, I don't know. I don't know if I can bring
myself
myself
to... He bought a skin suit, listeners.
I don't know if I can bring myself to confess to this, but I bought aero socks. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh. I bought aero socks.
They say 4 to 6 watts at 45 k's an hour, Jamie. It's fine.
Oh dear.
Danny boxed me into buying aero socks.
This isn't Coach's Corner.
Aero socks and that haircut, you're on for a winner.
Yeah.
Danny, have you signed up for any racing?
I'm actually doing the road bike category of the same race Jamie's doing.
Yeah,
so I'm going to go and probably ride half of it and then go home in a bit. I don't know.
Have you got any races coming up apart from the secret thing you can't say?
I want to race. I'm excited about races happening again, but I get scared and don't want to bust myself or my bike ahead of my big adventure this summer.
All in for the secret race.
Yes.
So
that's going to be a good reveal when we get that.
When can you reveal?
On a podcast.
Probably soon.
We'll do it on a
podcast.
Soon.
Yeah.
Excellent. I don't race, so I'm not racing.
Jordan, when's your next race?
Race
to the fridge for a beer on Sunday.
No, my body's a temple.
Oh,
race to the gym.
Race to the gym
for a protein for a protein shake. race to the squat rack for a PB. No, I'm not racing, but I'll be riding my bike and enjoying it and having a great time. All right, so we'll wrap things up, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Please get involved. Breakaways and Breweries Podcast.
Oh, where can we watch the racing?
It's just about to get to that.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
So so for both the men's and women's, get involved. So the women's Fleche race is on tomorrow. Today. By the time you listen to it, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. There's a very good chance that when you've listened to this, it might have already happened. But it just see how fast I can turn this around.
Tight schedule.
Yeah. Incentive tonight. For you.
Go on, son.
The men's race is from 12 till 4 on Eurosport or the GCN Plus app, and then this Sunday, not Wednesday, April 25th.
That was a faux pas.
This Sunday, the women's Liege Bastogne Liege starts at 10:20 and finishes at 11:45. Again, Eurosport on the GCN app, and the men's race 12:25 to 4:25 on the Eurosport or
Fingers
GCN
crossed
Plus.
for Adam Blythe and Matt Stevens in the commentary booth.
Best commentary going. They're great. We've been 100%. Shouting about it. They are the best commentary duo out there.
Yeah.
Big love for you both. We should try and get them down here for a podcast.
Yeah.
Why not?
Come on, episode 3 of Breakaways and Breweries.
Yeah. Have a bit of a party in here. But guys, thank you very much for joining once again. Instagram,
Lou Q.
Danny
_Roberts-Clarke.
Jamie. Jimmer Olsson.
Jimmer Olsson. Remove. Remove.
Just remove some vowels.
Yeah.
Not all of them, just a few.
JME Olsson. And then I'm Jordan Addison at Giro Cycles for Instagram and Twitter, and then use hashtag Breakaways and Breweries. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening, and enjoy the racing, enjoy the beers with along. We've got Jupiler and Trappiste Rochefort 6th, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers, guys.